I'm here with Damon of Virtue to talk about a little bit about the record Omen and about the touring. You guys are busy, man. Are you, like the price of gas does not scare you. You hitting the road hard.
Oh no, trust me, it definitely does. And every time we look at a budget sheet and it's like expected fuel, I'm like, oh, my beating heart. But at the same time, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get out there because hey, we're appreciative of people wanting to come see us and wanting to book us. So, we can't let a little little gas hike scare us off. So
I love the motivation and I love the attitude. Before we talk about the tour, because you guys are on the road right now, but you're going to be touring as well in the fall, playing a lot of Canadian dates, a lot of Canadian shows. I love that. But before we talk about that, let me just ask you a couple of questions about Omen. How have you and the rest of the gang digested the success that that album has brought to you guys?
honestly, man, the same way that I would say that we've done with some of our other stuff, it's like it's great to see again people just responding to it, connecting to it. That album is going to be special for us because, and I've said it in a bunch of other things, but it's like it's still true. Like that thing was crafted over probably the most one of the most tumultuous times in not only like our band's career, but maybe human history. Because again, you're going to look back and see like when the world shut down, when the pandemic and COVID was really a thing, people, losing their homes, jobs, lives, livelihoods, and to still be here and have and I say this all the time, man, the privilege. It's not a God-given right. It's not something that somebody's like, oh yeah, this is just what you're supposed to do. It's like we've worked hard, we've benefited from, a little bit of luck, a lot of support from our family, the community that we've built. And that's the success that we kind of look at more so of like it's not just us, but it's everybody around us. It's the community. It's you, people like yourself that have these platforms that even when stuff was going bad or it didn't kind of feel like there was a light at the end of the tunnel, you just kept going, man. You stayed persistent. You put one foot in front of the other. And for us, that's the real testament of maybe not just Omen, but just the music community as a whole to come out of this on the other end and be like, hey, we're stronger than ever. You can look around, man. It's like I was talking to some buddies of mine. It's like there's an interesting wave of bands coming up of like just new artists, people taking chances. You know, some of our friends that again we're in the same spots. It's like you're playing to like 50, 100 people, or now they're doing arena tours. They're getting their stuff on radio. They're traveling the world. They're actually being able to live out their dreams and do the thing that you've set your heart and mind to do. And it's like that to me is like the real success. And we just digest that in a way where it's like we don't take it for granted. We don't take opportunities like this, even like speaking with you, speaking with anybody else. And we just keep moving forward, we keep pushing because even though we did reach a new level, like anybody else said, there's another one above that. There's another one above that. And you kind of get, for a lack of a better term, you kind of latch onto it. You kind of get addicted to the success. And you're like, I want more. I want to, not only do this for my own personal well-being, but it's like I would say that anybody that has ever played in a band or, done music and maybe wanted to pursue it seriously, it's like when you look out and you see 500,000, 5,000, or you see these amphitheaters that are full of screaming, it's like we're still fans of music too. So it's like when we go to those concerts, I just saw a Day to Remember last week, playing in front of 5,000, 6,000 people. And it just took me back to, 2008, 2009. I was like, wow, I still get the same feeling of watching this band, and it inspires me to want to try to still get to that level of hell or high water. So,
Does the success that the record has had and the opportunities that has brought to you guys going to have an impact on the next time you sit down to write the next album?
oh, of course, absolutely. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it won't, because I would say that it will in the sense of we know what works for us now in a bigger capacity. But even with some of our other records, it's like we're always responsive to our audiences, to new fans, what we like personally. And it's like this is a funny story. This is an older song that we did. It was called Surrounded on our last record. I remember we were touring in the UK and I was talking to this young lady, and she's like, "Hey, you guys remind me of blah 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 blah." I gave us some examples, and she just was like, "Yeah, I'd love to see you guys maybe try to do like a mashup of some kind." And I was like, some people might not take that type of input from just I would say a random person or a stranger or a fan or whatever it is, but it's like we like that kind of stuff because like I'm like, okay, let me see if we can try to do this. And then it wound up turning into one of our first bigger songs that we had. So it's like paying attention, listening to people, seeing what works in real time, also seeing what works for streaming platforms or for radio, and kind of being just cognizant of all of that. But then going into it and being like, hey, even though we do have this information, as long as it feels good for us, as long as it's authentic, it's sincere, the message behind it has a purpose, and you can fist pump to it, you can, circle pit, you can have fun. Like you want to look out and you want to see people having fun, you want that energy. So of course it will have an impact on what we do, but it's also not that much different than what we used to do back in the day. So
Well, what influences you these days the most? Your peers, fans, opinions of people like me, or just your very own life experiences and what you're going through?
all of it, all of it. Again, not gonna sit here and some people it's like, hey, we don't care about what other people think, or some people it's like they cater more to a specific niche. It's like no, it's a balance of it. It's kind of what I was talking about. It's the ecosystem of we don't exist without an audience. You don't exist. You do exist, obviously, but like it's like you'd be just talking to yourself if it wasn't for me or for other people or anything else. So it's like, should you take my opinion like as a 100% this is gospel? No, I don't think so. However, you pay attention to your audience, you pay attention to what people like, see what's going on, you do see what your peers are doing, and sometimes it's in a way of like, oh, we have some friends that are doing this and they're doing their thing and they're succeeding, that's awesome, but maybe we want to do a little bit differently so that way we could still stand on the same level eye to eye, but we're just going to do it a little bit different. We're going to offer you, some people like a peanut butter sandwich, some people like a jelly sandwich, some people like them both together. And, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, how are you feeling at the time? Maybe, and I think that's the cool thing too about our sound, about Omen, really, is that there you can go through the whole track list from Omen all the way through False Idols, and you're going to get a little bit of everything for everybody. It's, it's not a homogenized sound. It's catered for us specifically as listeners so that we can go through it and go, all right, cool. We got everything. We got, circle pits. We got the sing-alongs. We got some, more emotive type stuff. We got some in your face, just punch you in the mouth. Like we do like the mix. And again, we pay attention to everything and everyone. Do we use every single little piece of, criticism? Maybe not, but we are aware of it. We do listen to it and take it to heart, because at the end of the day, we do want our songs, our message to reach as many people as we possibly can. And however we can do that, it's like if someone can offer us a perspective on our music, on our art, on what we do and how we create it, maybe in a way that we would have never thought of, then we're going to be open to it.
And speaking of taking it all in and going back into those gas prices, you guys are on the road with Upon a Burning Body. What are your expectations for this tour run?
Just to have fun, man. I mean, a lot of these places, especially in Canada, these will be our first time getting up there. Unfortunately, we had a whole Canadian tour back in 2020 that was canceled. So it's been a little bit of a stretch to try to get back, but it's like, we're thankful for them. We toured with them actually in 2019. So this will be our second run with them. Until I Wake, we just did some shows with them on our last tour with Imminence. So those are the homies as well. Mike's Dead. He's been killing it. He just got off a tour with In This Moment, has been just ripping this entire time. So the lineup is completely stacked. And again, it's awesome to be able to get to, and even get to some places too. Like I was talking about, like, I've never been to Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know where New Brunswick was on a map.
I love it.
I was like, yeah, I know like some of the main ones. I know where like Alberta is. I know where Ontario, because we live in Michigan. I know British Columbia. And then somebody was like, yeah, man, you guys are going here. I'm like, I don't know where that's at, but people have been stoked. There's been venue upgrades, tickets have been selling fast. So we're here to have fun, man. We're here to, the tour, what we expect is just to get out there, rip, make some new friends, put some smiles on people's faces along with ours, and go from there.
If it makes you feel any better, I've never been there either. So, and even though I can point it out on a map, it would be like one of those where I go a big circle, like it's somewhere here. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Geography is not my strong point, so my expectations obviously are going to be lowered. But don't feel bad, man. I live in Canada and I've never been to Halifax either. Maybe someday to see you guys there. You never know. You never know. When you guys go on a tour like this, because I talk to a lot of bands, and everybody has a different approach. Some bands change their set list in order to kind of cater towards what the audience is going to want based on who the headliner is. Some bands don't care. They just want to put together what they feel is the strongest representation of themselves. Where do you land on that philosophy?
We're lucky, I think, actually. We're kind of in the latter thing that you had mentioned, where we can tour with, a band like Imminence and then go right out with a band like Upon a Burning Body. And I don't think we have to change much, because we can be heavier. We can be the heaviest band on a bill. We can also be one of the lighter bands or offer that kind of alternative. And we just go in there and kind of do what we do. Like that's kind of the intent behind some of the writing too, is that wanting to, spread ourselves in a way where if we do want to play to a metal crowd, or we want to play to like a more rock crowd or anything else, we don't have to deviate from our game plan. We don't have to, go through and be like, all right, we're going to play all heavy songs. Because the other thing that I think about too, like just growing up in the music scene, going to see so many different styles of bands in concerts, sometimes it's the band that actually does take the risk and goes, you know what? This is more of a metal crowd, but we're going to kind of stick to our guns here. Some shows, you might not get the response that you think that you're going to get, but there's been plenty of times where we played with bands and like, maybe you look out into the crowd and you see a bunch of this, but the common denominator, at least I believe, is that if people don't leave, they're paying attention to you. They're like, this is a little bit different than what I would normally expect. And you'll never, like, I remember, I think we played a show. It was a show we played in Germany earlier this year on a tour. This band called Any Given Day. They kind of like a Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, I know them
metal
actually.
Sound.
Yeah,
great,
really cool band.
Great band. Their fans, they can be a little difficult sometimes. But the honest thing is, it was one of the greatest tours, because there would be some nights where we would see a little bit of this, and you would look out, and I go, no one's left. People are headbanging, okay. And I would get, older metal fans, and maybe they're like into the Metallicas, or they're into the Slayers, or, Amon Amarth, or these just super heavy bands. And they come up, they're like, hey, you guys killed it. You ripped. I've never heard of you before, or I've heard a few songs, but it didn't really speak to me then, but I saw it live and in person, and it makes sense now. And had we switched from what we normally do, it might not have had that impact. It might not have shown, we wouldn't have been able to show our authentic selves to these people to maybe expand their horizons the way that these bands did for me, did for us growing up, of like, oh, you don't just have to fit in. You don't have to, morph yourself. Like, just be you. Like anything else in the world, like you're going to go out. If you go somewhere, it's like, you seem like you're a pretty friendly guy that people would like, but you never know. People can find a reason not to like anything. And it's like, true. You're not always going to be somebody's cup of tea. And once I think you accept that, then the way that you move in the musical world will be so much easier, because you could even be a radio band. You could be Slipknot. You can be Bring Me the Horizon. You can be, Parkway Drive or Bad Omens. And these bands are enormous, but you'll always find somebody that goes, I don't like it. Not a fan. But it's like, no one in this world has a universal Q rating. And if you try for that might hurt your ego a little bit. But for us, like when we go on these tours, like you could stick us with anybody and we'll figure out a way.
I think to go towards your point, I think indifference is the worst thing that anybody can give you. So either they like it or hate it. I mean, at least they feel something. It's better to feel something
Yes,
than to feel nothing.
absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head where you said it's like it's people not care if someone's just kind of like,
That's the
is
worst.
what it is.
That's the worst.
Because the thing, and you already know, it's if someone hates it, if someone's like, man, I hate this, they're gonna tell somebody because they want to know if their feelings are valid. They're gonna be like, man, this thing sucks. I'm gonna show you this, and
Not only
it's like,
that, but they're going
I,
to
I
check
don't
out
know.
any new thing that you do to validate the point that they already have in their mind about you. So they're still going to listen
Yes,
to your shit regardless.
yes, yeah. You hit the nail on the head, my friend. You hit the nail right on the head. So, yeah, like I said, we just go out there, we rip, we have fun, and that's the thing, dude. We've had people come up to us and go, man, I don't really like you guys, and I go, oh, that's cool. At least you're coming and talking to me. And they're like, no, we just like you. We like your band. We like the energy, like the sound. Sonically, could be what it is, but we like you. And I don't know how many times. I mean, I've been in the position where like maybe I don't like something musically, but over time because I like the people, I like the intent behind the people, I like the message. That you kind of start letting go of maybe some preconceived notions of what you may have thought of, and you go, you know what? Maybe I was just in my own head. Maybe I was just being, too hard on so and so based on a previous experience with, this style or this genre or whatever the case may be. So by them just being their authentic selves, they helped me bring my guard down and open my eyes to maybe a different world of music or thought process that I wouldn't have had before. So,
I use that same kind of explanation to my son when we're talking about dating. Sometimes, you meet a girl, she's really pretty, but the moment you get to know her, the personality kind of sucks. And then, it doesn't matter how good the package looks,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. So you need to go a little bit more than just, the surface. You need to go a little bit skin deeper, you know what I mean? Like dig a little bit more. And I think that's exactly what you're saying here. And I agree 100% with you. And you guys, like I said, you guys love to spend money on gas. So you guys are coming back to play some Canadian shows later in the fall with Dead by April. Are you hoping that the Canadian, I mean, you guys are familiar with Ontario, Toronto. You guys are our neighbors to the south, so it's not like you're like a stone's throw. Like I stretch my arm out, I can hug you. So are you guys hoping that Canada becomes a strong market for the band, and this becomes a more even more a current thing than what it already is becoming?
absolutely. Like, even just based on like some numbers or some streaming or whatever it is, it's like that we have a lot of listeners in Canada, and it's all across Canada. It could be from Toronto to, we're playing in Quebec, in Montreal, all the way out to the west. Like, I feel bad for people in like Western Canada because they're always telling us like, hey, come to Alberta, come to Edmonton, come to Vancouver, and it's like, now that's a lot of gas. So
That is a lot of gas.
unless it, really makes sense, or you have to find a routing that will go that way, but the demand is there. Our drummer, Ryan, he is from Calgary, so just that right there in itself, like he has his own social media platform with his drumming. People are aware of him, and subsequently get turned on to the band, and it's like we want this to be more of a thing because again, it's so close yet so far away in some weird sense where just being able to go up there and make some new friends and have that be a thing where you know it's like I haven't been to Canada in it's been quite a while, and it's like I do miss it. It's like again wanting to play to as many people as we can, meet as many faces as we can, and eventually, yeah, like I said, just do whatever. If we can play 200, 300 cap markets for the duration or whatever, awesome. If we can play big arenas and do all this, that's cool too. Just wherever people want us to go, we're gonna try to go and try to do it maybe as economically as we possibly can. So
And you mentioned Germany, you mentioned Any Given Day, and to me, one of the surprises that I had about the band is that you guys are from this part of the planet, but you're signed to a rising empire who are on the other side. How did that opportunity come about to sign with a label?
they have been in contact with us for a little while now. And when our last label situation dissolved during COVID, we just had some preliminary talks. Like, they had asked us some questions like, hey, what's going on with this and da 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 da. And it just kind of worked out to where our vision for ourselves, for what they wanted to do with their label and getting some representation from North America, because they're obviously a predominantly German-based and European-based label. And, they wanted to take a chance on a few bands, and we fit the bill for us. We had been to Europe on our own without a label several times already, so we had a fan base there. And, they could open up some doors that maybe we couldn't do ourselves, access to other parts of the world. And it just boiled down to, they're a great team of people. It all aligned. And, I'm not gonna say, people weren't knocking down the doors at the moment, but it was like, hey, sometimes it's not the biggest name, it's not the biggest fish in the pond. It's who really has your best interest at heart. And it just felt like, especially during that time in COVID, where it's like, needed the stress of, maybe like, some of the business side taken off, or just the reassurance of knowing like, hey, we're here to help you guys get to the next level. And here's a way that we can do it. Here's our plan. It all looks like it can work together. And here we are now.
And you guys are doing great things. Like I said, you guys are getting busy, hitting the road, playing all of these shows. You're currently on tour with Upon a Burning Body. I'm going to put the dates in the description of the video so folks can pick up some tickets, can come and see you guys. And I'll also put the dates of the shows coming up with Dead by April. So that way, if they can't catch one, they can catch the other. Or maybe they can catch both. I mean, why not? Just come and see you guys. Pick up some merch while you're at it. Help these musicians make their way through these Canadian roads and American roads. Gas prices are killing everybody, and not only gas prices, prices in general of everything. So, Damon, all the best for you and the gang. I hope to see an album coming out maybe in 2025. I'm thinking you guys will be due. That's all I need. Okay, perfect. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I think that's one of those. So some new stuff coming up, and like I said, I'll put the dates in the description of the video. Don't miss these guys. Go see them live. Pick up a shirt, give them a high five, hug, whatever floats your boat. But just support these great dudes. They're on tour right now, and they're going to be on tour again, playing all over the place. So Damon, thank you very much for your time today, man. It was an absolute pleasure.
Hey, thank you, man. And looking forward to seeing you here pretty soon then, all right?
I'll see you at the Toronto show, probably the Dead by April tour in September. I have it on my calendar, so I might be coming collecting on that hug.
Please do. Got plenty for you.
All right, man. See you. Take care. All the best.
Take care, brother.